It's that show. Dom, have I been saying that we've stopped or that we can stop, or has that been things that I've been saying to you?
No. I don't feel like anybody should think that that's a possibility at this point.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that this is actually the show that never stops.
Never.
It's two Detroit nerds, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode coming at you. Beautiful February weather. I mean, my goodness, Dom. It was so nice today.
I thought we got an early intro to summer, bro. I woke up, I was like, damn, 57 degrees?
I forgot about all my problems. I forgot about, all of the different things that used to keep me up at night. Those cold winter dark days that we came out of in December and January were very brutal. I mean, we've been through this every year.
Of course.
It's of course boring. Who wants to hear about the weather? But man,
I feel like in Michigan, bro, it's less of like a weather thing. There's like an ominous vibe when the seasons change.
Yeah, and
I
I
don't
think
know what it is.
I think talking about it in terms of weather is actually not like it's not accurate. It's not accurately describing what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't know, that aren't from the Midwest and have never experienced a Michigan winter, or really have never been like in a true north type of situation, like maybe you live on the East Coast or you're listening to this in Arizona or California, and you don't understand, brutalist brick buildings with, these twig-like almost skeletal trees that go endlessly in the distance, and, nothing but just quiet desolation, industrial decay and sadness. There is this, tapestry of almost like the failure of modern industrial society that's just sort of living, and existing around you at all times.
It's just always here. Like it almost gives you the feel of like, somebody's out there committing murder right now.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to do? I mean, what, like, if people are worried, like, are trying to figure out, like, oh, why is there so much crime and craziness in Detroit? It's like, man, if it was this cold and this gray for this much of the year, I'd start getting up to some shit.
You'd almost have to end up being that way. And think about it, bro. Half of these. What if you don't have a home in this time? What's a better way to get some warmth and shelter?
Yeah. Oh, you better believe. Yeah, you better believe I'm coming in.
Yeah.
If it's cold, if it's negative 30 and I don't have a place to stay, guess who's coming to dinner?
Yeah.
Me.
I'm there. You're
Yeah.
gonna hear that fucking knock at the door. Hey, it's me again.
Yeah, bro. Ain't no way.
Not at all.
But yeah, man, we got a lot of really cool things we've been talking about doing. We wanted to do that promo video that was a shot-for-shot remake of Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
And we're getting close to kind of finalizing our plans on that. That's gonna be something spectacular because this is the Motor City. Like we're allowed to
do illegal activities with our cars here. Like it's a known thing here in Michigan. Like if you ever thought you're at a light, some dude pulls up next to you, gives you that look, and you didn't think, hey man, I'm gonna gun this shit, do about 150 on this main road, and you're thinking the cops are gonna pull you over. No, that's not a real thing here, guys. Like just do what you need to do, gas that bitch up, and win that race. Like let that motherfucker know, hey, you got something you're packing your engine? Well, check mine out. I'm off. I'm beating you off the jump.
Do you think there's a dollar amount that you would do like a street race? Maybe like not even a street race, do like a straightaway, drag race, empty road, like no traffic, no danger of like oncoming cars, like closed road, 3 a.m. But you have to take 3 shots of tequila and then put a blindfold on, and you have to just go straight. But you have to go 0 to 150 in a 5.0 Mustang. What's the dollar amount I can get you with to do that?
It's got to be like
you just got to go straight, bro.
It's got to be like life changing because here's the variables I'm looking at, right? I'm either gonna die or I'm not gonna have to work anymore. But either way, I'm not gonna have to pay those bills tomorrow, my boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's like a monetary thing, let me think. I don't know, bro. Like 3 shots of tequila probably wouldn't really impair my driving that much. Sorry, whoa. How would I know that?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
What do we mean?
Yeah, no.
Hypothetically, guys. Hypothetically. I don't know, like 50 mil?
50.
No, honestly.
50 million?
I'm lying. Realistically, bro, no sense of danger besides my own life being at risk.
Yeah, it's purely like.
How many seconds?
It's a straightaway, so you're going to go 30 seconds and the winner, like, so there's two cars, so you can't crash into the other car. That's the only other issue. It's not you alone. So there's you and another guy.
We're both blindfolded?
Both blindfolded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Give me my 50 mil then, bro.
Because
look, here's my thing, bro. Okay. Like your senses and your balance, they're not off, but they change when your eyes are closed, right? Like I wouldn't be able to every day of my life perfectly walk through my house blindfolded. Although I would have muscle memory and remembrance of where like each wall is, every lamp, a gate, a door, whatever could be in my way. Chances are I'm bumping into things, right? And that's me moving at my normal pace. So if I'm in a car that I've never driven before, for one, for two, have much less control over than I do with my own 2 feet.
It's a 5.0 Mustang.
Way bigger risk there.
It's a 5.0 2018 Shelby, 350 horsepower. It's got racing seats. It's got a roll cage. It's got just a bunch of buttons on the dash, so none of it looks like a regular car. So like when you get in, you're just trying to feel it. It's not going to feel at all.
Oh, I'm already blindfolded.
Oh yeah, you're
walking up to the car.
No, there's a group of there's technicians that will put you in. They'll make sure you're safe. You're blindfolded. They'll put your hands on the steering wheel and put
I'm just gonna pray and hope the spirit of Paul Walker takes over in me.
You're on your rocket man.
Yeah,
shit.
rest in peace, Paul Walker. But yeah, I mean, fuck, dude, it just sounds like a one-way ticket to death. I mean, not even so much speaking on my own driving skills, the other person's. What if in their head they're like, oh, I'm going straight. My man's just tailing left hardcore, and I'm over here. I got this, guys. No, I'm fucking dead. I'm gonna wake up in a fiery flame. One of my limbs are gonna be torn off, and I'm gonna feel my insides bubbling from the heat.
All right. I'll make it better. Okay, no blindfold.
Okay, 6 shots of tequila.
No blindfold. The same thing. 3 shots tequila. But if you lose, so it's a straightaway. First to the finish line.
Yeah.
If you lose, you immediately just get pulled out of the car and just shot. Like they just pull you right out, boom, execute you right there.
And we're talking like we both have the same capabilities.
Yeah, same capabilities. He's also
the same amount of a driver that I am.
Yeah, same amount of driver. Everything's equal.
I don't know, bro. I get these like weird confidence boosts in certain situations where, probably more times than not, I'm wrong about the confidence boost. But I feel like this time, luck will be in my favor. I'm taking that. Bro.
You're gonna take that one? Okay.
Like I said before, bro, either way, I don't gotta wake up to no bills tomorrow. So
either way, like a lot of other problems get solved. They're really at the end of the day, bad or good, a lot of other stuff is kind of handled.
Yeah, a lot of other things have nothing to do with that drag race are out the fucking picture now. So I think I'm good.
Yeah, man, I totally feel that.
Absolutely. What about you, bro? I noticed something. I don't ever ask you hypotheticals because I feel like yours usually outshine mine.
I don't know why people, because growing up, that's all we would do is I would just sit around in a group of friends and tell like millions of hypotheticals. So if it sounds like it's just like, oh, I'm so good at it, it's because I've been doing it for.
You lived in a hypothetical world.
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
that's
literally.
What it sounds like to me. You literally like breathed that shit in.
Like one of these things happened. Yeah, a couple of times.
It's my choice to decide which one was your actual real life situation, and just thinking it's a hypothetical this whole time.
Yeah,
that's fucking hilarious, bro.
It's funny as shit. But no, I love answering them though. Like as much as I love telling people hypotheticals, it's just fun because it's a great way to start conversation. I like to get them as well.
And it really, like, although you're not in the situation, it kind of tweaks your brain a little bit into having to think to be in that mindset because no answer. There's no option for no answer. Hypothetical is supposed to be you're picking one.
Right. That's the only way it's fun.
Gets killed.
Yeah,
shit like that.
And it's also like there's always the kind of, let's call it. I don't want to be. I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to be offensive. I'm trying to.
Don't be that way. Then.
Yeah, I'm trying to tone it back, but there's always the, let's just call it the easy way out, right? Yeah. Of people wanting to be like, I'd never do that, or
right.
What? That's too crazy. But that takes the fun. Of course, the point is it's too crazy. The point is
the reason for the hypothetical.
Yeah. So I just appreciate when people actually like man up. And decide to answer the question like as the terms are given and not, well, except there's of course the one rule that, those of us who know that there is one type of question, you can always call this card and not have to answer it. So
Yeah.
for those trolls out there that, can think of what that could possibly be, I'm sure you could come up with that.
We're one in the same mind if you guys know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. But other than that, you should be able to answer any question,
I would say 95% are answerable.
Yeah, but okay, so I got one. So your all right, dollar amount, and this one is kind of for those of us who had an idea of what we might have been talking about. This is in that realm. This isn't exactly that because you can't use this card with this question, but it is in that realm.
Okay.
So, and this is a good segue into the other topic that I wanted to talk about today. We can go on a deep dive on, but so we've made this kind of joke before, but let's say, the podcast starts doing really well. You get a phone call, and it's like a lawyer, regular sounding guy. He's like, hey, I represent a pretty, powerful guy in the entertainment industry. We've been listening to your show. Mm-hmm. We want to offer you guys, a pretty lucrative deal. We want to go through you, though, just because, we like you better than, your co-host. But, we want to fly you out to Atlanta. We can't tell you who the guy is. Maybe you can guess, but, he's a guy that's very powerful in the industry. He wants to meet you privately at his residence. And, you'll get all the details when you get here. But what's definitely going to happen is you are going to get signed to a multi-million-dollar deal. He just wants to meet you first. Doesn't tell you who this guy is. Yeah. But this lawyer's real. Like, you look it up, and you can't really tell who he's representing. But when you look him up, you see that he's represented everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, this is one of those lawyers, right? Okay. So you know that he's serious. He's not. This isn't a scam. Do you get on that plane?
Well, first and foremost, sounds like somebody's trying to take me shopping. It sounds like to me. And I'll let you know one thing right now. Grown ass man about to take me shopping. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Wait, why, Dom? Why wouldn't you?
Let's say it's one of those cases, right, where me, the lawyer, and the shop taker are the only people that know about this.
Yeah.
Even if I was the only one that knew about it, this would never sit right with my morals.
Okay.
My brain would never let me be able to forget it, and it goes against what I am as a Detroit nerd.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean?
Of course,
so,
of course.
I can't. There's this saying that I was told when I was young, and I feel like it can kind of be put with a lot of these hypotheticals, at least this subject, this genre of stuff, hypotheticals. Right. And it's I won't do anything for money that I already wouldn't do without it. It's I'm mixing the words around a little bit, but it's something along those lines, right? So basically, you couldn't pay me to do anything that I wouldn't do without getting paid.
Right.
Like I said, ain't no nigga taking me shopping.
Here's the thing, man, and I believe you. I feel like you're a guy.
Certain
principle.
Things.
No,
some things would allow me to do that, but
like
not shopping.
Like I would, I would kidnap a Chinese national and sell their organs for, like, that's fine, like those things. There's a dollar amount,
of course,
but obviously there are other things, right? Self-compromising things, let's call them.
No, let's call it shopping.
Yeah, let's call it going on shopping sprees as grown men type of things that we both, you and I, just are against our principles. Yeah. But I guess this brings me to my big question, and that I want us to kind of mull over and kind of understand and uncover in this episode. When you see there's this pattern of people that, for the most part, I would say are probably a lot like us, right? They come from a certain type of community. They're raised with certain types of morals.
Of course.
Right? And sure, they may, have other proclivities, right? Like they may be really heavily into drugs, or they may be into, violence or street gangs or whatever. You see guys like that, but time and time again, we have this pattern of them doing those things that we're saying, there ain't no amount of money that's going. I don't know. I'm not saying for me or you, right?
Right.
But
saying,
what is it? This is my question. This is what I want us to uncover today. And I want to, we can say the whole lizards size, and we can talk about that as one aspect of it, but let's really try to find a good middle ground. Like, what are the factors that flip these otherwise uncompromising, unself-compromising, non-shopping men, rappers?
Yes.
Let's call them what our topic is today.
About, right.
what turns some of these rappers into men that would do things like that? Because we now have some evidence, right, of a lot of people who, had that evidence not ever been out, we would have put them in this category. We would have said, nah.
They would never.
What?
Him? Nah. You couldn't even show me a picture and have me believe in it.
And he's got enough money. The other thing too is, well, he's got enough money. Like, why would he do? Why is he in the pool with people with allegedly? Well, we can't even say allegedly. Travis Scott was in the pool with Diddy. There's a video of it. I don't need to say allegedly.
Yes.
So
Meek was too.
Meek was in the pool with Diddy, right?
Eating fries on his wet lap. It with no paper towel, no little cardboard tray to hold it. Regardless of that,
what are the factors that affect these men that make these things happen?
So I first and foremost believe that there's a sense of fear there, right? I don't know where that sense of fear comes from, but being within that industry, I would assume that seeing somebody on such a high stature of power, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of have an idea once you're that close to them what they're capable of. So I feel like first and foremost, it's like a form of blackmail.
Yeah, right.
Maybe something didn't happen, but this person's word is so believed that they could go spread this news around to get people to believe it actually happened, right?
Okay.
That would be the first. Money's definitely one. I mean, we're stuck in this really weird age where people think everybody famous is rich. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, you got guys who have been in the game for years and years that people very close to them have come out and said, nobody to name as an example, but they don't have the money you think they do.
No.
Everything you see in these music videos and these promo videos, when they're out, when they're caught at these red carpet events, that is there to make you believe that. For what reason? You and I could speculate all day, but nobody really knows. So money's another one. The third, and I would say this is possibly the most important, so it probably should have been first. I believe that a lot of these people that get into these positions have this false sense of self-identification. They grew up and were raised in a certain area where maybe at that time, yes, this is who you were, this is what you are. Right? But I feel like a lot of these guys, deep down inside, there's like a little kid in them that has been forever yearning to run away from that.
Right.
And here's their opportunity. And unfortunately, it comes with these things that it comes with, right? Like I said, the blackmail. The holding something over your head. The constant thought of the like defamation, like bringing your character down, slandering you, whatever it may be. So I feel like those three, play the biggest factor. And then just to throw in an oddball fourth one, publicity stunts, I guess I could say. Not knowing whether or not it'll go in their favor, maybe trying to do something that they would never do, but to know to get the exposure comes with that. And we've seen that lead to a lot of people's downfall within the rap industry.
Right.
And we know who, you guys got to know who we're talking about by now. I mean, like the godfather behind rap. not a rapper, but
this is part of a larger point, but I want to just say this, and then I'll stop at a certain point, and then I'll keep going. But one of the things my sister used to say, because we talk about how much we love New York rap.
Yeah.
We love New York rap. We love these guys. These are the greatest rappers. Oh my God. And she would talk about how as people, so many of these guys, like the ones that we all like, people in the Wu-Tang Clan, Mos Def, all these people that were a part of that whole consciousness wave, Common, all these guys, she'll talk about what she's heard from, the women's side of interacting with these dudes when they were at the height of their fame. And, they were evil monsters. Like, that's the best way you could describe a lot of their interactions with women. So it makes you wonder, okay, if the ones that we think are good are that, what are the ones that we know are bad? What are they up to?
Right.
Because we know that there are some that have bad reputations, right? And the ones that are good, we know have secret bad reputations. So what's the secret bad reputations of the bad ones?
I believe it'd be something unfathomable to you and I, because if the certain things that are hidden with these guys' secrets, right, are only so bad, right? Like, yeah, they're bad, but it's not anything that you and I aren't used to hearing or seeing about. And I feel like the general public could say the same.
Yeah.
But, you got these guys that are just like I'm sorry to say, but like just like fucking pieces of shit.
No,
doing whatever they want. You know what I mean? I mean, there's got to be something there, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But what I want to do on this episode is I want to fathom it. You said it was unfathomable.
Yeah.
I want to fathom it tonight. I want to figure out like what are these dudes up to? Why are they up to it? And what is making them act like
I mean,
this?
I feel like, bro, at this point, they're in the industry. I mean, who knows, bro? They're probably fucking part of gangs and groups that are just like kidnapping kids. I mean, scalping them, programming them.
We know they're doing that, but like I remember that one story about Will Smith from I think it was one of his bodyguards. I'm sorry, this shit is so
bro.
I'm sorry, this shit is so funny. Hey, I love all people. Everybody can do what they want to do. I'm not homophobic. I don't have any issues with, you know, people who want to express their sexuality whatever they want to in whatever way they want to, and they should be allowed to do that. And it's a shame that a lot of these people have had to live clandestine lives, right? But I feel like there's just something so hilarious about the idea that like the, you know, biggest movie star of all time, Will Smith, was allegedly what his you know, I think it was one of his managers or just somebody that was around him said he walked in. It's a YouTube video, you guys can find it. Said he walked in and he said some other famous black actor guy was just crushing Will Smith from behind, like very aggressively, like in a dressing room, like on a set during a like time when they were supposed to be shooting. So it's like, so this is the thing, right? Is that when you hear these stories, it's not like, oh, Will Smith was caught in Paris with his gay lover. Right. It's never. That's no. Okay, he's gay.
That's the story people want to hear.
Yeah. Well, and if it is, like, that's kind of boring. Like, that's just like, okay, he's gay and great. You know, let him do that. That's what he wants to do. And if he wants to be private about it, that's what he likes to do.
Yeah.
But there's a certain depravity that I want to discuss here today that I think it goes beyond that. It has nothing to do with him being gay. There's plenty of gay people that are not depraved. And I think it is homophobic to say that depravity and homosexuality have to somehow be in the same conversation.
Right, it is.
You can be, you know, gay in your own home, or you can even, you know, you can whatever.
Be gay at your local corner store.
Whatever, dude. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You're on a movie set. This is allegedly this. We don't know if this actually
happened, for sure.
But you're on a movie set. You're supposed to be doing something. And instead of doing that thing, someone has to come and find you getting
your doonies busted down, bro. Let's be honest
and
here.
It wasn't like they were making out. Like this, like we need to discuss this, guys. I want to really stare this in the face and talk about this because I've watched like a few YouTube videos about the Diddy thing in preparation for this, and a couple things about Will Smith. And it's like everybody keeps dancing around this thing, or they keep conflating again this thing about, oh, because they're homosexual or even clandestinely homosexual, that means that, you know, the depraved things that they do should not be scrutinized. That, oh, they're gay and if they want to be okay, be gay, that's fine. But like, why are we hearing about TD Jakes, you know, being in weird ass orgies? You know what I mean? Like it gets to a different, allegedly. Yeah. Weird. Hey, we don't know anything about what really is going on with anything.
We just need to stamp alleged in a closed caption mark on the whole
Yeah, we're just talking. This is a typical YouTube show with two guys who don't know what they're talking about, trying to fill up your second monitor while you
fucking vacuum your room or wipe down your ceiling or something, you know,
or move numbers on an Excel sheet from one end to the other, and you know, collect whatever
your Ouija board, whatever you guys do there.
We'll collect whatever corporate check you're collecting. But my point is that we're not saying this because we want to like bring a case against any of these people. And if this is their private lives, let it be their private lives. It's two things. It's the hypocrisy and the depravity that I want to discuss. It's not the sexual you know, identification of a particular rapper.
No. It's
you know what I mean?
Never that. It is weird, man, because, you know, they show these people in such a different light, bro.
Yeah. He said, and what we'll do is I should clip this into the video that we're doing right now, because it's so crazy. The guy goes, and I walk in and he just killing him. Like, yo, for him to say that, do you know what he had to have seen? And this is why
he was horrified, bro.
And here's the other thing. All right, why would a guy if he was gonna make up some salacious gossip, right? He doesn't have to go all the way over there and embarrass himself, as a Christian straight black man talking on TV about some one man getting clapped out by another man. That's not how he wants to make his money. So something happened, right? There's a reason why that guy was on a camera telling us that story.
Knowing what could possibly happen to him by letting this information out. Like, let's be real here. I don't know, bro. I mean, I feel like even with people who are hetero, I feel like the term he was getting killed is usually not brought up that often, bro.
Right?
Like,
I've never, listen, man. I did a lot of crazy shit in college. We talked about New Orleans. I've never heard in any of my stories or hearing other people talk about shit. Never heard somebody use that way of describing them running into, like, walking in on somebody having sex with somebody else. Never heard it said he was killing him. No, I've never heard that.
Like, understand, people, what this can do to your character, more specifically as an actor than as a rapper. Now, when you go watch all these new Will Smith movies that are going to come out in the next 10, 15 years, right? What's the first thing you're going to think of?
Right.
My man's getting killed in a fucking dressing closet, bro. Let's come on.
Hey, and
allegedly.
So, getting to sort of the bigger stuff. I mean, what do you, when you hear the whole Diddy story, like, what does that sound like to you? Does that sound like this is a guy that got a lot of power very quickly, maybe made some self-compromising decisions in his early life?
For sure.
And is sort of, been a loose cannon for 20 years with just
a little too long now.
Sort of untapped, unchecked power and just went off the rails? Or do you think this was possibly some ritualistic type of grooming? Hold on, I think I
heard something.
Yeah, you heard that pop?
That click, yeah. Is it
what
still
was
going?
that?
It's still going.
Yeah, it's still going.
Maybe the chord, who knows?
That makes me unsettled.
Yeah, I know.
I said ritualistic and you heard that?
It popped.
So, but do you think that it was, so, like, I'll tell you my craziest.
Yeah, I want to hear yours.
Yeah, my craziest theory about all this, right, is that a lot of these guys that control the record, industry, they came out of a sort of, let's call it libertine, and very sexually open and free kind of environment in the 1960s.
Yeah.
Right? Like the free love, the whole, explore yourself. It's them rebelling against the sort of, stuffy restrictiveness of the 1950s, right? Yeah. Like, these are some of the first generations of, pop star record labels. The 1960s was really where that was founded. And, these guys get into the kind of things that they get into. And it kind of started as sort of a free love kind of thing, and something that probably started as just people wanting to explore their own sexualities. But as power and money and ego got sort of invested in it, I think it became more abusive. And I think at some point, some of those people realized that they could actually use that abuse as a way to keep their power and control.
Of course.
Right? Like, somewhere along the line, they were like, oh, wait, the way that I'm sort of sexually engaging with people, I can actually use that to my business advantages. Yeah. And I think that is the type of person that allegedly a person like Clive Davis, who was Andre Harrell's mentor, was. I think that's the world that he came out of. He was the first openly gay music record executive, right? He was probably in his, like, 70s or 80s, probably in the 2000s. So you're thinking he was probably in his 20s or 30s in the 1960s, early 70s. So, it would make sense that he'd be a part of that kind of culture, California, all that, a lot of money, records, all that. And then, someone like Andre Harrell gets groomed by someone like that to adopt that type of lifestyle proclivity and particularly means of manipulation. Of they learn it from one person to another.
And it's kept alive.
Right, and it's kept alive, as well as that line of capital, right? Like, the same shareholders are still getting paid. The same control over the business is still there, right? So even if it transfers from Clive Davis to Andre Harrell, they know Andre Harrell's going to pay the right people. Yeah. They know he's going to do the right thing. And I think that was what happened with Diddy, right? It goes from Andre Harrell to Diddy. that's what I think was going on, is that it wasn't necessarily even a. I think for someone like Clive Davis, it was a sexual thing. Like he was sexually interested in men,
Right.
and I think for Andre Harrell, it was probably somewhat a sexual thing as well. I think he was allegedly. I don't know. I think he might have been not straight.
Okay.
Andre Harrell.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that. But I think with Diddy, I don't think I genuinely don't think it was like a homosexuality thing.
No, it was like that. It was like that mixed in with like a very high form of manipulation. It was almost like you know he there was a meeting one day and they were like, look, you want to get here, you got to start doing this,
and I think
you have to. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, and I think that it's almost like a competition at very high levels during a certain time in business.
Yes.
I don't think it's like this as much anymore, but I do think in like the 90s and 2000s, it was kind of like, oh, I can get my assistant to do this. What can you get your assistant to do? Or I just got this secretary to do this. You know, that was almost like a bragging right, you know, about at certain levels. I feel like that had a part of it to do with it, right?
There's actually a crazy story. It's a little bit explicit regarding Diddy, almost with like matching your exact words right now.
What was it?
Should I just give it out? Let it out.
How
we can always cut it out. It's explicit.
Okay, well you
no,
let's try.
I can PG it up.
Okay, yeah, PG it up, yeah.
For the life of me, I cannot remember what Diddy had a reporter or somebody, a journalist, somebody along those lines working at Bad Boy. This is years ago. I want to say early 2000s, and this is probably right around the time like he would, in his head at least, like really know he was at that height of power. You know,
yeah.
I'm him.
Right.
I'm that.
Yeah.
I'm in control of all this shit.
Right.
I can't remember the other man that was caught in the act, but the journalist, reporter lady, whoever she was, can't find anything about her anymore either after this clip came out.
Really?
I hope I can find it. But
really,
she was walking to the head office, Diddy's office, and long story short, door was open. She said the door is usually closed when he's in there with other people handling business, whatever he does. It was cracked, so she just felt that, you know, that was common ground to just walk in. You know, an open door is an open door.
Right,
what are you supposed to do at an open door?
Yeah,
walk in there.
You walk
right?
in it. Yeah.
Walks in, catches another man performing a certain act upon Diddy. Okay? She makes eye contact with Diddy, walks away. Feels like, oh, this is none of my business. Let me get away. Sits down. About 10, 15 minutes later, Diddy walks right by her desk, asks her to come with him to his office. She, you know, not to get too into detail, but he says, yeah, so what? You seen what was happening? If I can make a man do that, I can make him do anything.
Yeah.
And that is literally exactly what you just pinpointed was that's what it comes down to. And it's not like this was a guy who was the head over another record label or behind the sales or the distribution of Sony or nothing along those lines. But it just really goes to show you that if anybody in that position of power feels as though they can really grab you and take control, put the puppet strings on you, make you do the dance. Yeah. They're willing to go to any length, I feel like, to do that. I mean, you know, not saying the acts that were performed on him is the length of lengths, but let's be real here. At that time, we're rappers. Certain things, certain ways of life weren't really accepted within a rap, regardless of how talented you were, right? So it doesn't make much sense to say that's the reason he did that. There's other reasons, obviously, you and I just didn't know at that time, and these things came out. So I don't know. I definitely agree with your points, and I feel as though I would have probably said something along those lines. I can't see it being anything else outside of that.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of culture of, you know, asserting dominance through manipulation and through sexual humiliation. I think there's enough evidence to say that there is a cultural fixture within both Hollywood and the music industry that demands that.
Yes.
I don't think this is like a thing where, you know, people like Harvey Weinstein, Diddy, and, you know, Brett Ratner were all doing things independent of each other, where no one knew that the other person was also a sick freak. No, I think there was probably a cultural understanding that people at a certain level were into certain things, and they liked to demonstrate their power and prowess over their, you know, subordinates by doing those kinds of things habitually. And I think someone like Diddy is an example of, what that looks like over a long period of time. Just like Weinstein was. But I think what I'm trying to say is that I don't think we know the worst of it.
No.
I think if somebody like that guy who was supposed to be Will Smith's manager or whatever, or his bodyguard, is comfortable enough telling us that he walked in, seen him getting killed, imagine what he's not comfortable telling you about. Right? Like I don't think we really understand like how deep this pit goes, and I think until we do, we'll never really know how to stop it or how to deal with it.
I agree with that. A lot of people are scared of the truth, but in a lot of these situations, you need the truth to understand how to fix the inner workings of what's going on behind that truth. And it's not for the faint of heart, because you're going to find out about some things that I feel like a lot of people who are fans of said people and other people that we haven't named, it's going to be very hard for them to accept, to the point where they're going to choose not to accept it. Like they could walk in on it themselves and say, "Oh no, that didn't happen." Try to save face, keep somebody's image up, and it's just it's sad, bro. Because what more out of a situation do you want than the truth?
Yeah, and the other thing too, I feel like is a lot of people will try to, and I was doing this myself, where I was like, oh, well, the one rapper that I like, he's probably not doing this.
Of course. There's a bias there always.
And that bias, I think, takes you away from the reality that, like, this is how this operates.
Yeah.
And the more you try to stay in denial about it being a systemic thing, the harder it is to deal with, or the harder it is to combat. I think it's like the best, like, analogy or metaphor you could use is, if you just thought I was addicted to cigarettes and you were like, yo, let's get him off cigarettes, right? So I go, get off cigarettes. But then you find out I was really just doing heroin the whole time. You didn't really solve anything by getting me off cigarettes. Even if I wasn't smoking cigarettes anymore, if I'm still doing fucking H.
Indirectly, you made it worse.
Yeah, in a way, right? So it's like, if we're just taking care of, oh, there won't be any more Diddy parties, right? That's the cigarettes, right? The Diddy parties, maybe, people not even getting, we won't even say people getting drugged. We'll say there's rooms in those parties where people that you think are, straight or act one way are acting differently, right? That's about as bad as it gets. Maybe there's, some depraved, sexual kind of acts that might be things that you would find disgusting or just find upsetting or unsettling, right? That people would be into that. But at the end of the day, they're all consenting adults. If that's what they're into, that's what they're into.
Of course.
But what if there was something else going
on? There is something else going on.
I think it kind of has to be, right? Because
there's no other way around that.
Because I feel like there is this super, super quiet moment that always happens in all of these types of conversations where they want to get to, well, what did you see? Like when Cat Williams, talks about parties and stuff, right?
More specifically, his stand-up when he's in the green felt jacket.
When he was talking about, and in that comedy special, you see him stopping short every time. What are you seeing when you open the door? What is the thing that you're seeing? And I think that there is this like fear to speak it in, to say what it really is, what they're really doing.
Yeah, that's why it's done in the sequence of a stand-up, right? Because as he's saying this, it's coming off as a joke. This is funny time. This is part of my skit. This is what I do. Sure. Yeah, that's all it is. But like you said, you can very clearly see it. If you're somebody whose eyes work more than half the amount of time, you can see, like you said, there are certain pauses, there are certain stops. He knows how much of this he can let out without letting it out fully, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's done in the sense of a joke. But still, I mean, that was what we're talking almost. How long ago was that? About 20 years ago now when that stand-up
Yeah, that was 20 years ago. Right? Yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Cat Williams today is still talking about things amongst that same idea, but he's letting more knowledge out now, more truth to these stories and these people who, like they're perfect within the eyes of the media. And, Cat Williams, to me personally, doesn't come off as somebody that's like a hater. Doesn't come off as sadistic. I know they tried to paint him as like doing a whole bunch of drugs and whatnot, but there's a reason he's doing this right now. There's a very clear reason that if you can't see, maybe it's not for you to worry about or wonder about, and I guess just let things be as they are. But
I think what we're seeing right now is like a changing of the guard. I think a lot of the old faces of the 20th century need to be exchanged for new faces. I think whatever the machine is that is, managing all of this. And I think, and I don't want to get shots. So I don't really want to talk about like what I really think, where the control levels
don't want to get canceled.
Really are. The only thing I'll say is if you look at a lot of these guys, a lot of these big entertainment guys, a lot of them are managed by a lot of the same law firms. Look into that. Yeah, might be a good place to start if you're
weird to anybody that they're all handled by the same people.
Yeah, just I don't know, maybe check that out a little bit, but not to get too deep into that. I think that a lot of these organizations and the way that they're sort of structured and organized is like they have certain people that are managing, certain big projects or territories, right? So like Diddy was managing the artists that were coming out of New York, the music that was coming out of New York. That was a money funnel, right? So like just like Detroit during Motown, right, was a money funnel, right? Like if you could plug into that, get tapped in with the local talent, get them signed, get those records out, you're printing money and you're gonna have money for generations, right? I think they discovered another almost like an oil well, right? An oil well of talent that popped up in Harlem and the Bronx, right? So they needed somebody to they needed their Exxon, they needed their Shell to siphon up that money, right? And I think Diddy was their general manager of that project, right? And he had done what he needed to do. They let him go on his run. He got to go to all the parties. He got to go to all the secret meetings. I bet you he really felt, I bet you in Diddy's best moments, he really felt like they let him in.
Of course.
He really felt like
these guys are my friends.
Not even that they're my friends, but I'm one of them now.
Yeah.
Like I did the blood ritual. They allegedly, got some from me, right? That was a part of what Diddy was doing, right? Allegedly. But I think at a certain point, because he had done so much bad shit in the name of, their project and their wealth and, by extension, his wealth, I think he fooled himself into thinking that they wouldn't just cut his ass loose and throw his ass on the street, destroy his legacy, which has been destroyed. Diddy will never be remembered for the way that he had worked tirelessly for years to be this version of what he thought a black successful mogul was supposed to be, and he'll never be remembered that way.
No, it's almost like people have zero respect for him now. And I mean, look at everything happening now, bro. This is a tough one to come back from.
If I were him, I would just be like, all right, what's the most amount of money I could donate to an amazing cause without going completely broke? Like, could I give $400 million to like every black school, like just money to everybody?
Oh no, he can't do that. He's only in the billionaire status. He's not like I don't think he's like worth like 10 billion or nothing.
Right, I think he's like 1 billion, but that's a title they give you.
Yeah, of course.
You
don't. It is. You don't know how much money he really has.
Where's the bank? Hey guys, where's the bank that has the account that has $1 billion in it?
Yeah.
The fuck, do you really believe that?
Right.
You really believe Elon Musk has $250 billion?
Let's be real here. Like it's a title, like you said. That's a title they just stamp on your head.
That's a title they give you when you're a part of it, when you have proven to the system that you are profitable enough to it, that you are going to feed it enough, revenue and profit. It kind of just plugs you in and gives you like an infinite money glitch, you know, and that's what being a billionaire is that you just have an infinite money glitch until they decide that you don't anymore.
Yeah.
Until they decide to turn you off.
Hey, turn that switch, unplug your ass from the fucking wall.
Boop.
Yeah, you're out of there.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, ain't nobody getting no fucking $250 billion because your dad had fucking emerald mines in the part of time. Come on, bro. You can get rich. You can become millionaires off that. Billionaires, though.
Yeah,
Come on.
But and I think there are people that have amassed, things that are valued at that kind of money.
Yes,
but I'm talking about the dollar, like
the physical
no, you don't. No one has that. That's
here's your unlimited credit line.
Yeah,
have fun with
exactly.
it.
That's
we'll
what
pay
it
your
is.
Bills. Have your fun.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think he was given that status because he had done. It's like a knighthood. You're a billionaire now. Here you go. And they do that just like they did that with Taylor Swift just now. They said, 100%. Well, we need her in the spotlight. Guess what, guys? By the way, she's a billionaire.
Yeah.
So the number went from 900,999 to 1 billion at when? A couple, show me where that happened. Show me the accounts and how they all add up. and then we can call her that. Otherwise, like, you just told me that, and I'm supposed to believe it.
Yeah, I believe you now. No, fuck out of here.
By the way, like, yeah, and it's not to say these people aren't massively wealthy. That's not my point. Of course, they're massively wealthy. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. It's just that these things that we think we can quantify, or that they are backed by some kind of like something other than a fiat currency that means really nothing. Like, if you think that there's anything physical that you could point to that Taylor Swift has done that's worth whatever, how many billions she's worth. No, like, she's made millions of people happy with music, and she sold that music, and that's great. And but it's the actual like dollars are not something that is a real thing. It's not.
No, you're right. And it's really right in our face, because they just tell you you're worth that much. Right? So if you're worth that much, it's what you're generating, like incidentally, like for somebody else, or a bigger cause, or a well-oiled machine, let's say.
Right.
It's what you're generating for that. It's not you. You're worth that much. They're putting a price tag on you as a billionaire.
Yeah.
You have this much influence. You have this much talent, this much power.
But when you're put into that billionaire status, you're given like that extra. You're in the Sky Lounge.
Here's your VIP package.
Yeah, you're in the life VIP, and they've kind of designed our modern society for that, right?
Yeah,
like
everything.
the whole thing, the aspiring aspect, the thing that you want to be if you're a business person, if you're a celebrity, is you want to be a billionaire, right? Because that's how you know that's the new mark for success, right?
Yeah.
So I think people like Diddy, who'd worked their whole lives for that, and just to get it all taken away, I think shows you that whatever is really moving things forward, or whatever thing is really orchestrating everything, is got plans that can happen with or without somebody like Diddy. Like,
in that position, right?
We think of him as this like fixture of our culture and society, but look at how easily he's being removed.
Yeah, and it really speaks to show that if they'll do it to him, realistically, they'll do it to anybody.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
about.
Oh, yeah. But so let's do a rappers roulette.
Yes.
Which rappers do you think allegedly might have gone shopping? I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna give you some. Okay. I'm gonna give you 3 names, and you tell me which ones
is most likely out of those 3.
Definitely went shopping.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm gonna give you 3 guys, and this is exactly the scenario.
Yeah,
it's 9 a.m. in the morning. Ring ring. Yo, what's good? It's Diddy. I'm trying to take you out. Fly out right now. I got the PJ waiting. Pull up.
Yeah.
All right. These are the 3 rappers that got that call. Who do you think? Which ones said, yeah, of course? Young Thug, Travis Scott, I can't think of. No, I'm kidding. Young Thug, Travis Scott, Lil Durk.
Definitely Travis. I mean, all 3 can be said.
Yeah. Do you think all 3 of them would have been like, "Yep, I'm going shopping"?
I think. I mean, definitely Travis Scott more than the other 2, but see, it's hard to say. I want to say Young Thug, but I feel like he wouldn't be fighting a RICO case right now. If
that's what I think.
You know what I mean? He wouldn't be fighting that if he went shopping. And then Lil Durk. See, Lil Durk's like the iffy one. Lil Durk is the one on the side of like he could have or he couldn't have, right? Because his moniker, his face, his persona is this Chicago drill hood guy. You know, he's killed people in his life, sold drugs, done these things that his music says he's done. But at the same time, how are you moving around the way you're claiming you're moving around, and nothing's ever happened to you? Whether it be through,
cases are just dropping.
Cases
just like, hey, we're just not gonna.
Let's be real. Almost nobody's untouchable. So I would never say I would wish this on anybody. But how are you doing these things that you're talking about, and nobody's ever pulled up on you? And once you become famous, it's very hard to stay hidden, right? In these guys' cases, not everybody's, but in these guys' cases, right? But nobody ever ran out.
But this is the other thing too, is that I actually don't think it's that hard to stay hidden. I just thought of what you said, and I've been having this feeling for a while that I do think that we don't realize, because of social media and because of the access that we have to seeing what, wealthy people's lives are like through reality TV or what have you, even movies, we think we don't have as bad of a stratification of wealth as we actually do. Like, we think in America, like, that's probably not as bad as Brazil, right? Like, people living in the favelas and then people living in, mansions. Like, we don't have that big of a difference. Like, a guy living in Section 8 and a guy living in Beverly Hills, obviously there's huge differences.
Big time, yeah.
But, like, it can't be that. I mean, they still got to turn on the thermostat. Like, there's probably some things that are similar. I actually don't think that's true. I think we have been completely given a wrong bill of goods as to how different and how private and secluded and tucked away the truly wealthy have become. I don't think that we would really ever know what was going on in some of the more private enclaves, let's say, of like Beverly Hills or of the West Village in New York, or some of these places are getting to the point where if you're not a 10, 20 millionaire, you're probably not even going to see the inside of a lot of these apartments, in these luxury apartments in New York. Like, you're not going to even see what it looks like in there. No. You're not going to know how to get through the front. You know what I mean? So I think there really is this big separation. There's this iron curtain between the people that are above, like, let's say the 10, $20 million mark and everybody else. I think they live completely private lives. We have absolutely no idea what they're really like. And probably since COVID, they've been 24/7 in that world.
And think about that too, because bringing up the COVID put those restrictions out there to where, think about even a year's worth of time, right? We're on a lockdown. Just a year. A year's not that long. But for something like that to go down, that's a long ass time. And certain things, certain plans could have so easily be put into motion to make that succeed even further than it already has. And I don't know, man. I agree with you on that.
I think we have absolutely no idea how the truly rich and private, or let's call them the exclusive, the elite. Yeah. Because there are rich people. There's a guy. There are people that own corn farms that are probably normal, and they're worth like $20 million. Yeah, like, there's people like that. But people that are in the elites of certain industries, or if they're at the apex of a certain amount of fame and notoriety, right? I do think that they have completely left this planet. They're on a completely different plane of existence right now than we are on and it has never been more different to be the difference between a rich person and a non-rich person than it ever has been in history.
Yeah, then right now I agree with you. You're right. Everything's changed.
Just from seeing how all this stuff happens, how these people have been moving, how things can suddenly just go quiet, silent, like you don't hear about it. Like, all this shit. So you did you see that shit with the dude Christian Keys? Bro, we may have to stop this so you can watch it, because bro, like, for real, we gotta watch. We gotta watch. All right, we won't stop it, but what I'll say is, Christian Keys was this black actor that was in a ton of Tyler Perry movies and just like those black 90s movies for most of his career. You'd probably recognize him. You saw him. He's older now, but like, you'd recognize him if you saw him. And he made this very cryptic video right around the same time that all the stuff with Diddy was going on, all the stuff with TD Jakes was going on, and he was talking about how he was about to expose someone and that nobody would believe who it was, and he was ready to tell the whole world that this particular person, who everybody thinks is that guy.
Okay,
that this particular person that he was about to expose tried to pay him $100,000 just to come to him naked, and said that he had 3 or 4 prominent black actors that this particular person literally was just like, not pimping, but that was just like his harem of men. Might as well that he would just go, he'd pay their bills. If they needed acting work, he'd give it to them. They needed anything, that he got them. He's their sugar daddy. But that's when it's time for him to come over, he said they're grabbing ankles.
Yeah, your wife can be in labor. You're coming here.
Yeah. No, like that's the arrangement he has with all these actors. So this guy's about to expose this huge, producer, or this person. He wouldn't say exactly what this person was to the industry. A lot of people speculate that it could be Tyler Perry or other people, allegedly. Obviously we have no proof or evidence that this is true, but it sounded like he was right about to do. He was like crying. He was like, I'm done. I only fear God, and doing the whole macho, I'm done with this whole routine. Disappears. What happened? What happened, Christian? Who called you?
Where you at right now, Christian?
Who called you,
You
Christian?
want to come get on the pod, bro? We'd love to hear these stories.
I really, hey, I respect that you're an actor, man. If you ever see this, I'm not trying to throw any shade, but I gotta know what the fuck happened, bro. Like,
what do you know?
I gotta know who called you and who made you go from being as strong as you were in that video to being as quiet as a church mouse. I want to understand what that was. That's kind of the question that I keep asking in this ongoing conversation Dom and I are having right now is, what is this missing link?
Do you notice this? Not being told. What is this?
Do you notice this blank in all of this talk and speculation? Is that there's this point that you hit up to, right? Yeah. And I think that curtain appears when these kinds of things happen, right? Like, it's only possible for something like that to happen, for that kind of quick shutdown in a day like this, where everything is digital, everything's recorded. He could have recorded the call of the person, and he would have had him dead to rights, right? Yeah. If it was true, if it was real, right? And if somebody called him and threatened him, he could have recorded that shit and put it up online and then exposed the person, said, this person threatened me. I said that. And then he'd be vindicated. He'd be the biggest name right now. We'd all be talking about Christian Keys. Why didn't he do it? What are they saying to you over the phone? What is the secret?
That's stopping you?
Are they going to put your soul in a glass jar above their study for the next 2,000 years? Like, what is happening?
That might be it.
I'm starting to think that that's what the fuck is going on.
They're gonna have you just propped up right next to their fucking painting of their family and right on top of the fireplace. Just.
If it's not some supernatural shit, man, then it really is true that all these niggas are just pussies.
That's the only other option.
That's it. That's the only other option. It's either there's some supernatural shit where they this is either one of the two things happened, right? Either Christian Keys got off the phone and was like, I was just fucking around and hopefully I'll get some, movie deal off this or something, right? Or he hung up the phone and a portal opened up and a 9-foot tall lizard came out.
Smashed him.
Like, you better shut your fucking mouth. And he just fucking went pale and never talked about this shit again.
Bro.
That's those one of two happened.
Nothing else. His family wasn't threatened. His best friend wasn't threatened. That nigga's soul was about to get snatched.
And it wasn't like a portal like... in Stargate where it's like a circular thing. It's literally like right now, but just a claw reaches through reality and tears it open, and behind him is just a bunch of fire and mayhem, and he just steps through and just closes it up behind him, and it's like the regular background right here.
Like if that were to happen right now on this recording, our camera would unironically just go blurry, cut off, just for that quick little 15-second intermission, right? And then empty room. What happened to him? It's a video effect. Yeah, guys, it wasn't real. We did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we come back. My haircut's a little bit different. When your eyes are a little different color, and we're just guys. So, anyways,
anime.
Yeah, anime, music, video games. Who changed our whole fucking tone.
I swear, man, it's one or the other, man. That's the name of this episode. It's one or the other.
I like that.
But we're at 1 hour. I'm going to pause here because I want to make sure that the audio is good, that we can even use this episode. So let's stop it right here. If you guys have been enjoying this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Share our stuff. If you like this episode, share it with somebody. Be like, yo, I listened to these two dope-ass niggas that were talking about the littest shit that I've ever heard. You got to listen to it. We'd really appreciate it.